When Denny Hamlin walked into that Charlotte courtroom on December 1st, most people expected another routine legal hearing. What they got instead was one of the most explosive and emotional moments NASCAR has seen in years. And it started with a number no one expected to hear out loud. During testimony, Hamlin revealed that he earns roughly $14 million a year driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. That single statement sent shockwaves through the courtroom because NASCAR driver salaries are almost never made public. Teams guard those figures like trade secrets, but in this trial, everything was forced into the open. When NASCAR's attorney asked why he makes more than other drivers, Hamlin didn't flinch. "Other drivers don't win as many races as I do." That line instantly became one of the defining moments of the trial, but it was only the beginning. The lawsuit, brought by 23XI Racing, Denny Hamlin, and Front Row Motorsports, accuses NASCAR of violating antitrust laws by forcing teams into a system where they have little to no negotiating power. What unfolded in court wasn't just a fight over contracts. It became a battle over the future of NASCAR itself. Hamlin was the first witness called to the stand. With Michael Jordan sitting in the courtroom, Hamlin began explaining how he fell in love with racing as a kid. Then the unexpected happened. He broke down in tears. The room went silent as Hamlin spoke about his father's declining health and the sacrifices his parents made to keep his racing dream alive. He described growing up in a family that poured nearly everything they had into his career. At 20 years old, he faced a life-changing decision: continue chasing racing or step away and work at his father's trailer company. Years later, when he decided to build a Cup Series team of his own, he knew he needed someone capable of turning ambition into reality. That's when he turned to Michael Jordan. Hamlin told the jury something brutally honest. "If I couldn't make this work with Michael as a partner, then I knew it was never going to work." Then he pulled back the curtain on the true cost of competing in NASCAR, and the numbers were staggering. According to Hamlin, it costs about $20 million just to field one car for a full 3/8 race season. That doesn't include driver salaries or business overhead. Meanwhile, the annual charter payout from NASCAR sits at roughly $12.5 million per car. That leaves teams scrambling to cover a $7.5 million shortfall before they even begin thinking about profit. Hamlin explained that 23XI Racing purchased 3 charters over the years. The first cost $6.7 million. The second came in at $13.5 million. The third, acquired just last year, cost a staggering $28 million. That's over $48 million invested in charters alone. And that's before the team spent $35 million building its cutting-edge race facility, Airspeed. On top of that, they pay Joe Gibbs Racing $8 million annually for technical support. The operation employs 140 people, and in 1 year alone, they paid NASCAR more than $700,000 in fees and credentials. Despite all of that, Hamlin testified that 23XI Racing operates on only a 2.26% profit margin. In other words, one lost sponsor could wipe out profitability entirely. And according to Hamlin, without Jordan's influence and ability to attract major partners, they'd likely be losing money like most teams in the garage. Then came one of the strongest statements of the entire trial. Hamlin described NASCAR's proposed charter agreement as a death certificate for his team. He said he refused to sign because he believed it would destroy his future in the sport. He recalled a tense conversation with NASCAR CEO Jim France during awards week in Nashville in late 2023. Hamlin sat down with France to discuss the rising financial pressure on teams. France reportedly argued that teams should only spend $10 million per car. Hamlin pushed back immediately. Teams were already spending double that just to remain competitive. Cutting costs in half, he argued, was impossible. "We've cut this grass so short we're down to the dirt." When he asked how owners were supposed to recover their investments under those conditions, he said France had no answer. That conversation foreshadowed the contract dispute that would follow. According to testimony, NASCAR sent teams a 112-page charter agreement on Friday evening, September 6th, and gave them until midnight to sign. Just hours. No serious legal review. No meaningful negotiation. Take it or leave it. Bob Jenkins described the process as disrespectful and intentional. When teams asked for more time, they were denied. Negotiations, they were told, were over. Hamlin said he identified 8 major issues in the agreement, but NASCAR refused to make changes. Then came cross-examination, and that's where things turned even more intense. NASCAR's attorney attempted to challenge Hamlin using his own public statements, playing clips where he praised NASCAR and the next-gen car. But Hamlin's response was direct. He said public comments are carefully managed. If he criticizes NASCAR openly, he claimed consequences follow. Tougher inspections, extra scrutiny, unwanted phone calls. He testified that part of his public role is repeating organizational messaging to maintain positivity around the sport. That admission added another layer to the courtroom drama. Then the trial exposed internal tensions inside 23XI Racing. Leaked text messages showed some business partners criticizing Hamlin's spending habits and calling him a poor businessman. At one point, Hamlin even asked if they wanted to buy him out. In court, he dismissed the criticism, saying their job is to challenge him and keep him grounded. He emphasized that while roughly 75% of NASCAR teams lose money, 23XI Racing remains profitable and competitive. Perhaps the most surprising revelations came from NASCAR's own executives. Internal messages showed growing frustration behind closed doors. Steve Phelps reportedly acknowledged the team saw no meaningful improvement under the new agreement. Steve O'Donnell warned that the strategy risked dragging NASCAR backward into an outdated version of itself. And strategy executive Scott Prime compared negotiations with France to talking to a brick wall. Even NASCAR's leadership appeared divided. But according to testimony, the board and Jim France refused to compromise. Court documents also revealed NASCAR had contingency plans in place if teams refused to sign. One was called Project Gold Codes. Under that plan, NASCAR could seize control of all charters and operate teams directly. Another proposal involved reducing the number of charters and redistributing them on a first-come, first-served basis. The implications are enormous. If Hamlin and Front Row win, NASCAR could be forced to restructure its entire business model, possibly making charters permanent, selling assets, or dramatically changing ownership rules. If NASCAR wins, 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports could lose their combined 6 charters and face an uncertain future. This is no ordinary legal dispute. It is one of the most consequential courtroom battles in NASCAR history. And with major figures like Richard Childress, Rick Hendrick, Roger Penske, and Michael Jordan expected to testify, the story is far from over. For now, the racing world waits. Because whatever happens in that courtroom could change NASCAR forever.